friends, and welcome to Pod Return to the Waking Sands. We are a Final Fantasy XIV companion podcast where we explore the lore and story of Hydaelyn and beyond. My name is Jen, and I'm joined by my co-host and researcher.
I'm Levi.
Hi, Levi.
Hi, Jen. How are you, Jen?
Ooh, you know, I'm full of quesadilla.
What accent was that?
It wasn't one.
It was not your normal voice. So
it's just like it's like a sing-songy sort of full of quesadilla. sung to the tune of "Gotta Keep 'Em Separated."
The record will show if it was "Gotta Keep Them Separated."
Full of quesadilla.
Thank you.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that aside, today we are talking about Machinist. And Jen is mad. I don't know why yet. I think Machinist is delightful. I don't know why Jen's so mad. And I have not asked her, despite her venting negativity, because I don't want to burn Pod off air. So now that we're on air, Jen, why do you hate Machinist?
I don't hate Machinist.
Could have fooled me.
It's a lot. So the post-ARR job stuffs are very dense. And I have famously a sort of struggle with transposing the events of the quest into my own words into a script of sorts. And sometimes I just I cannot sit and do it. For example, just the intro to the level 35 quest, or at least the first level 35 quest, for each level tier, there's 2 or 3 or 4 steps, and it's a bamboozle. I'm like, oh, I'm almost done. False. But just the little intro back and forth between 2 NPCs for one of these quest steps took me an hour. It took me an hour because, well, one, it was late, so I was constantly looking for distractions. I could not sit still. I was like, I got to do this, but I was crawling out of my skin. I'd rather empty the dishwasher than do this right now. I couldn't get my head around it. It was so slow going. And so it's been 4 or 5 days of just Machinist, just pushing myself to get it done. So I am up to here with Machinist.
It's a hard life being a podcaster, Jen.
Sometimes, man. That's all I got to say.
Okay, Jen is done for the episode.
False.
Moving on then. First off, this is part 1 of 2. We are playing through the level 50 quest. Next time we'll be doing all the way to 60.
Yeah, there's 3 lines of plot that will continue after we end this episode.
Indeed. It is a deep story, Jen. Finally.
A lot of threads. lot of threads, which I totally appreciate.
Do you want to go back to Carpenter, Jen?
Well, Beaten alone is worth it.
Not that Carpenter, the Heaven's Word Carpenter. I have a bad dad, but now he's good. The end.
I got a bad dad. Yeah, what was up with that? Is it just
I recommend you go back to the Carpenter episode.
I don't.
So you get caught up there.
No. I remember. I remember making things that weren't exactly wood. Oh, fuck you, Adblock Plus. I swear, Adblock Plus is pretty spammy. They'll just open up a tab in my browser, moving me away from the tab I'm currently on to their new tab that's we've saved you from clicking on 41,000 ads so far this year. And I'm I don't get, including this one, you fucks. Then I have to, ugh.
Well, we will never be sponsored by Adblock Plus now.
Good.
Thanks, Jen.
Good, because I do not appreciate their business practices.
At any rate, so Machinist. Machinist is, of course, one of the jobs that are introduced in Heavensward, and they decided that these jobs would begin at level 30, which would be fine, except that at this level, you only have LDR and PvP, but Jen does not acknowledge the existence of PvP.
No, I do. I think it's dumb.
Regardless, the only option we had to level was LDR, and I'll tell you that leveling 30 to 50 on a deadline is quite a slog.
I tell you what.
Yes, so we had to work very hard, and it felt more difficult to me than other jobs we've done to get this leveling streak all the way to 50.
Yeah, why? It's just it's a dead zone of leveling options.
Yep.
That was the issue.
Well, we did every single A Realm Reborn job, same stretch, 30 to 50, but this just felt like a lot more work to me.
Yeah.
And we had to actually push back our recording date because we were not at level at the initial recording date.
Correct. Yeah, it's like it's either that or we did Allied Society.
Yeah, but
Which
those
that's
are
still,
shit
like,
XP. They don't give good XP till after A Realm Reborn. Like, A Realm Reborn does not have those same options. If you do Allied Society Shadowbringers, you're fucking getting like a level per day, pretty much, from Allied Society alone. But in A Realm Reborn, it's like little chips away at your XP
it's like
bar.
4,300 XP, and I'm like, okay, I need like 40 of those.
Yeah. So it's fine if you're not trying to get it done by a certain date, but we were because of the pod shit. So
right. So I don't think people are normally operating under a deadline.
No.
So yeah. Still,
anyway, we did it.
You get 1 LDR a day, and that is a long trek.
On the flip side, though, Machinist is one of the best, if not the best, DPS job to run on low-level dungeons.
Oh, hell yeah.
Because you have almost your full level 30 toolkit available even in Sestasha.
Oh, we've got an AoE. We've got like 4 other buttons besides.
We got OGCD weave options. It's ridiculous.
It is ridiculous.
Get your shit together, Viper and Picto.
Everybody else. Oh.
Fucking one-button Picto.
Oh, the noise. The noise of that one button haunts me to this day.
That said, though, I'm not super fond of running as Machinist at high levels. It feels to me, hot take incoming, like the job is pretty much done at 60. And after 60, they just bolt on more cooldowns with no real integration into the job flow.
Like Madonna.
I don't understand that reference.
I don't either. For some reason, like, which is awful. Like, it's not very good after 60 and bolt on something. I'm like, man, she's 80% plastic surgery at this point, which is really upsetting. Anyway, I don't know why. I'm sorry, Madonna. I don't know why you popped it into my head for that analogy just then.
Back to Machinist, though. You get your standard 1, 2, 3 weapon skill combo. Nothing surprising there. 1 AoE attack, which has a very annoying sound. Just constant pew, pew, pew noises. Ricochet sounds.
Oh, yeah.
So that goes on endlessly when you're doing group pulls in dungeons.
Mm-hmm.
Then you get your drone, and other abilities charge up your drone. Then when it hits full charge, you let it loose, and it does cool stuff.
Sure. I'm still fleshing it out. I've used it very, very little.
Hot tip for Jin. Let your drone get to 100 charge. Do not unleash it early.
Yeah.
Because it's less efficient.
Right. Yeah, I get that. And then it's like, okay, well, I got to make sure I sick it onto something that has enough health to make it worth its while.
It will change targets with you. So if you're doing like group pulls and you're killing one thing and it dies, it will change to the next target with you.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
All right.
Besides the drone, you get your hypercharge wildfire combo, where hypercharge gives you a series of rapid attacks which charge up your wildfire.
Is that the one that has like a pocket watch on it or something?
Yeah.
Okay.
You do the hypercharge like rapid attacks to get the wildfire charged up, and then that explodes for big damage.
Oh, okay. Because I was using the clock one during my Allied Society things. I'm like, let's try this out because it just gave it to me. I'm like, all right.
Sure.
So my interpretation of how it worked, again, a paragraph and a half of shit.
Of tooltips, you mean?
So I activated it, and my assumption is that the more weapon skills you use, the more powerful it is.
Yes.
So you use it at the beginning of your rotation. Of course, I didn't have the hypercharge.
Yes.
Right. So I was just doing normal rotation with the weave, and then so pushing all those buttons before the timer runs out, and then.
Yeah. Well, bear in mind it's weapon skills only, so the weaves do not count. Those are abilities. Only the GCD attacks are what count towards
All right, well,
wildfire.
I hit all of those.
Sure. But the thing about hypercharge is that it's a much faster cooldown.
Yes.
So that's why you always use your hypercharge than wildfire to get your biggest bang for your buck.
There you go.
Yep. So there's your PSA, Jen, right there.
Thank you.
And finally, you get your auto crit ability, which of course you pair with your highest potency attack. At level 60, you get Drill, which is a huge potency attack, and that is when Machinist is complete.
Okay. Looking forward to that then.
This level 60 power curve is why Machinist is one of the best jobs as of this recording to do Palace of the Dead with, because their power peak is at 60 and they do a lot better than many jobs which mature much later.
I see.
Machinist is like one of the best solo jobs for Palace if you're trying to do that type of content.
Interesting.
Yeah. As a final pre-story comment, Jen, I do want to say that while there are many great glams for the Machinist weapon, I find the little belt pack, the Ethero Transformer, to be a huge drag.
Oh, like aesthetically?
Yep.
Yeah.
I know they want some like visual justification for why you pull all these weapons out of your butt, but I think this thing is hideous and it ruins glams. And I wish that it were like an offhand item you could equip and like Emperor's New version of. Or at least like change the appearance, because it looks the same no matter what is in your main hand.
That sucks.
Always the same shitty belt pack.
No.
Like the devs are very concerned about making sure there's some plausibility for like literally everything, which I respect, even though sometimes it's a stretch. But in this case, I don't know. I find, again, having the one size fits all aesthetic of this belt pack to be
That's whack.
Pretty lame.
Yeah. That's not what we want.
No.
I didn't even notice that.
You probably will when you're trying to do glams.
Ugh. It's like dads and their like the battery pack over their shoulder for their giant camcorders. You know, like.
Yeah.
Why?
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 So, mechanics aside, machinistry, as we know it, is thanks to our main quest guy, Stephanivian.
Stephanivian.
Yes.
But I just call him Steph. I just got tired of saying it in my head.
I am not surprised. I had a feeling that would be your shorthand, Jen.
Correct.
Nice. This guy, though, Stephanivian, he is the inventor of Machinist as we know it today. He combined Ishgardian craft with Garlean magitech, thanks in part to the Garland Ironworks. So he is a visionary.
According to some.
I find it to be pretty inarguable, unless you mean like his dad or something, then...
That's exactly what I mean.
Yes, well...
Yes. Yeah, the establishment that he is threatening is like, this is bullshit.
Sure, but that's political.
No, that's why it's bullshit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, speaking of that dad, Jen, let's go and find that dad in the story.
Do-do-do-do.
Would you take us in, please, Jen?
Right. So, hear all this commotion coming out of this building, and we're like, hey, maybe there's a job in there for me. And indeed there is. Welcome to the Skysteel Manufactory. You obvious adventure type, my prospectometer has measured your interest in joining the machinist discipline. My name is Stephanivian de Hyanart. I'm calling him Steph from now on. And he continues, the future.
Thanks, Jen, for slapping the equipment. That probably did not come through on audio, but Jen just whacked our audio interface. The brand new one, because the last one broke, Jen.
Well, it didn't break because I smacked it. Maybe this one
might,
will.
though, right? Anyway, two things before you go on. One...
This episode's going to be 2 hours long.
Maybe. One, Jen, this prospectometer is...
Prospectometer.
It's like the quest tracker, but IRL, as in it tells Stephanivian where to go next for his own quest.
Yeah, it's his magic 8-ball.
Right, and this thing does not get the celebration it deserves for making way for his future.
No, it's like Harvey Dent's coin. It's you make your own luck kind of a thing.
Second, Jen, what does this guy look like?
Oh, he's an Elzen. Blonde hair, blue eyes, very handsome. And he's got, clothes on.
He has a black bandana and workman's outfit on.
Workman.
You may have noticed that his surname is Hyanart.
Of course I did. One of the high houses, yes.
Hyanart. Yet he looks like a common laborer.
Well, yeah, he's in a filthy factory, and he's doing stuff, and he's getting his hands dirty and coming up with all the things. I mean, he's basically... he's Sid Garland, but for, guns. So, he continues to tell us that the future lies in machinistry, where we combine Master Garland's magitech with etherology. And his inventions will change the face of warfare. Hey, so let's start with a lesson. Well, okay, maybe not, because the instructor, our master of marksmanship, seems to be not here. And a timid voice pipes up. I'm afraid he's gone for good this time, me lordship. Left a letter of resignation on your workbench and all. Well, this infuriates Stephanivian, and he will not take this lying down. Prepare mine accoutrement, he exclaims. We're going to find this guy wherever he is and return him to the manufactory, kicking and screaming if necessary. Also, the timid voice was her name is Joy.
Joye.
Joy, it's spelled Joye. But she is a student of machinistry, but she also works for House Hyanard. So she kind of splits her time between the two things. This will become important later.
What does she look like, Jen?
She is a young, blonde Huron Midlander, and she's got freckles and braids. She looks straight out of the fucking prairie.
She has twin braids and a simple blouse on. She looks very out of place because she looks like a housemaid.
Yeah, she does.
Interestingly.
Because that's what she is. Her
Spoilers,
real
Jen.
job is that. So, the prospectometer, once again, shares its wisdom. The man has probably absconded to Lenosia, his homeland, and Steph recalls him mentioning Camp Overlook at some point, so we head there.
We arrive in Camp Overlook, and Stephanivian gets real judgmental. Indeed, its inhabitants do seem the type to clout a man in the face in place of a "how do you do?" And we get around to asking about our guy. And we learn that a surly Rogadin from Ishgard is over on the airship docks. We find him, as promised, the epitome of a salty row pirate.
For sure.
And Stephanivian leads with an exit interview. Were the conditions of your employment not satisfactory? Return with us to the manufactory and we can discuss more favorable terms. And also, you cannot abandon us now, Rostenthal. Think of the future. But Rostenthal reacts strongly. Leave me be one more step and I'll blow your yappin' jaw off. And he threatens us with his firearm. Stephanivian calls in Joy to intervene. And Joy does a magical girl twirl and her demeanor and hairstyle transform. Her hair comes unbraided and she lets loose with her pistol. Rostenthal fires at us, but Joy shoots his bullet mid-air, deflecting it, then fires wildly into the sky, screaming, "You shite-eating bastard." She's not a cowboy, Jen.
It's very cowboy, which is
"You
just happened.
shite-eating bastard. Next time I'll aim for the shaft twixt your thighs."
Whoa, whoa, whoa.
She holsters her gun, and with a poof, her hair reverts back to its braided style, and her posture becomes demure once more.
Yeah, this is some, like, Gem and the Misfits style, like, transformation.
Stephanivian steps in. "Are you not proud, Rostenthal? 'Twas you who taught Joy everything she knows about shooting, and spitting colorful profanity besides. I, he says, she learned my lessons well enough, in fact, to become your new master of marksmanship."
Gem and the holograms, sorry.
Thanks, Jen.
It's important.
But in a disappointing response, Stephanivian says that Joy is too busy with her servant's duties to be a master of marksmanship. This is the beginning of his kind of low-key mistreatment of Joy, in my opinion.
Stephanivian?
Yeah. We'll see where this goes, Jen, but I think that he does not respect her.
What? No. Holy shit. She's like the number one, like, best fucking machinist in the whole group, which he tells
Correct, but
us all later on.
Correct, but also he sees her for that. He values her for that, not for herself, Jen.
Values her for
her part in his enterprise, not for her own needs and her own self.
Well,
we can get to this later on because it'll...
No, I strongly disagree, but the man...
Put a pin in this until it comes up.
All right. No, I think he values her very deeply, and also she's been an employee of their manor for however long.
Once again, we will get to this stuff in the story, Jen, and we can debate afterwards.
All right.
Stephanivian requests that Rostenthal come back to train us. You know, we were here for 5 minutes and now we're a part of the team. But he says, any scrag who knows me would rather I did the dyin'.
He's feeling a little down on himself right now, and that's why he's acting the way he's acting.
And now he proceeds to insult us, saying that he will not teach some sausage-fingered adventurer that was pulled off the streets, which, except for the finger part, we kind of are.
I was like, I'm definitely sausage-fingered.
I guess as a Alala, yes.
100%.
On point there.
He's not going to teach some oak bliss sausage finger adventure.
But
I can't.
Stefanivian's prospectometer has not been wrong yet, and he believes in us. So he implores Rostenthal to give us a shot, and Rostenthal agrees.
Get it?
If we can impress him with our natural aptitude, aided by the machinist jobstone, then he will sign back on as master of marksmanship.
Okay.
The future of the manufactory falls upon us.
And our sausage-fingered hands.
Yes. So we now embark upon a solo duty to prove our worth. And Jen, this quest is lousy with solo duties, complimentary.
Yeah.
Like we are spoiled here for all this content. It is ridiculous. It makes me mad at later content for not being so generous, despite being a much bigger and cash-flowing game. Oh my God.
Remember, I think it was Pugilist, when you go around in the streets of Ul'dah and you like punch a dummy. No! Marauder, I think. You go and you literally hit a rock and then go back and be like, I hit that rock. It was real cool.
I'm talking about later content and how all this custom content dries up in later expansions.
It's always for these like the special jobs that are added. They spend like way more time doing this stuff.
Yes.
So
I have some words about the role quests in some years, Jen. But that is a future
See
problem.
You in a decade, yeah. Okay, so now that Rostenthal has formally agreed to be our rootin' tootin' tutor, he begins with our first lesson. How not to shoot ourselves in the foot. Then a few words on the device strapped to our hip, the Aethero-transformer, that draws upon our body's ether to fuel Stefanivian's weapons. And with that, we're off for our first field lesson, if and we're not a coward anyway. We're not a coward. You're a coward. So surrounded by the denizens of the long climb, Rostenthal explains that our first trial will be to make our way toward the Hermit's Hovel. Spoilers, this is not a hovel. This is a gorgeous cottage by a small pond, waterfall with an incredible view of the distant mountains to the north. It is idyllic.
We've been there for the ninja quest.
So good. I'm glad we go there at some point because you will never just stumble upon this place. So we're going to be heading there to the hovel, shooting golems along the way.
This is a very interesting segment in that there are no rails or really guidance beyond
I got lost. I was like, I don't have anything to shoot. I went the wrong way.
They cut the entire northwest quadrant of Outer La Noscia into this instance and leave you to fend for yourself.
Yeah.
So you have to find the shit and kill the shit on your own. The other guys follow you around at a distance to monitor your doings, but they do not tell you, hey, go here. There's no quest marker saying, hey, go here.
I went all the way down to the hovel looking for the second mob.
Same,
and I'm like,
actually.
whoop, well, it's not there.
So we
here.
begin with the golems. Also, side note, this place is gorgeous. We've talked about it beforehand. I think we were here during Scholar or something, but this segment is amazing. It's got the whole ripped out scar of the earth where the rocks floated up during the calamity. Mm-hmm. It has a little winding trail down to the quote hovel.
You don't really ever have an excuse to go there.
Nope.
I live in that hovel in a heartbeat.
Yeah.
The little bed loft with the telescope and shit. It's so good.
We are going to kill golems first, and if we know what we're doing, we know that golems hang out in that ripped up earthen scar where the land was torn asunder.
Yeah, we shoot 3 golems. And then we're like, okay, we did the golems. And he's like, great. Now you're going to shoot some practice bombs. This is where I got lost because you have to kind of go backwards to find them.
Yeah, because bombs are not here normally. They're in the Kobold area, which is not part of this duty.
Yeah.
What you can do, though, is if you find high ground, again, you're on your own. But if you get to high ground, you can see the bombs glowing in the distance because they're very bright.
Well, there you go.
So you can climb up there and say, oh, there's a bomb, and then make your way there.
So after we've shot down a few bombs, now he wants us to kill a couple Myosids and a couple tigers. And at this point, Joy is kind of picking up on his strategy here, which is to force us to fail by pitting us against more and more dangerous foes. And she's like, that's bullshit. I know exactly what you're trying to do. You're trying to weasel your way out of this whole instructorship. Again. She's like, well, if you're going to bend the rules, then so will I. And she does her little Annie Oakley transmog and then accompanies us on the next leg of the hunt. She's like, you're going to need some help with the Myosids and tigers because they're huge.
And she is really good, mechanically speaking. She does some damage.
Oh, hell yeah. She's, see, that's what I'm saying. You cannot deny her skill. And at the end, of all of this, after getting called out, rightly so, Rosenthal, he's impressed. But we're still not done. The final task will be to defeat Rosenthal himself. And Joy is like, there's no way, nobody can beat Rosenthal. He's a famous pirate guy. He's super good at stuff. He's like the teacher, for Christ's sake. And then Steph is like, beat his ass. beat his ass. And we're like, okay.
Jen,
we do beat his ass.
I'm aware that this is a game, but also sparring with a full-on gun does push the bounds of my disbelief just a little. Because we have like
we don't have
our practice sword fights, and you can imagine us like pulling our swings or like, hitting armor or whatever. But with a gun, you're shooting a bullet.
Oh, he got shot like 15 times.
We did not swap out our bullets for rubber bullets in the narrative, as far as I know.
That'll still kill you too. So they're not called non-lethal; they're called less lethal.
Correct. So he has either like a gun axe or a gun and an axe.
Mm-hmm. Well, remember, Marauders at some point became... were they carpenters and they turned into Marauders?
Yes, exactly.
That's why, yeah. So that's traditionally the pirate
but
pool.
What that has to do with guns, I don't know.
Well, he's a pirate. We saw him when he threatened Steph's life for coming back and convincing him to try to go back to work. It's just a gun. It's like a musket. Or a flintlock pistol.
Yes, he carries a flintlock. I was wondering if the axe had gun functionality. That could be a future job, see, Jen. Got the gun breaker and the gun axer.
Maybe. I think the axe is just like his Leatherman tool,
His Leatherman tool, yes, probably so. Either way, we shoot him up enough to impress him, and he grudgingly agrees to return to the workshop.
Yeah.
But does Stefanivian know why he left in the first place? Not to breathe the salty air of his homeland. He ain't got no love for Lenosia.
This is so Steph is really cute. He is a noble through and through, but he's also a little like he's a huge nerd, which makes it so that he's maybe a little out of touch, I guess, or a little naive, I guess perhaps is a better word. So Rosenthal was like, did you even wonder why I left in the first place? And Steph thinks about it for a second. He's like, to once more breathe the salty air of your beloved homeland?
Steph has his eyes on the prize and may not consider his employees' needs, especially.
No, I think he does. I think he's one of those distracted genius types. So, yeah, absolutely not. No, you're so wrong. Not Levi, but Steph. In fact, Rosenthal kind of hates Lenosia. We'll figure that out later, too. No. The reason is... he was approached by a stranger and offered a ton of money to quit. So he quit. He has never seen the guy before or since, but now that he's back on the manufactory roster, the stranger guy, their boss, will certainly be wanting their gold back. So Steph sees where this is going, and he says, nope, no. Rosenthal, you're not going to wriggle your way out of this job again. If and when they show up for the money, I will repay the debt on your behalf, as long as you agree to teach every hopeful machinist that walks through the doors. Fair? Fair. And, so Rothenthal all like, well, you've got one bugger worth of teaching at least. Guess it's back to the frigid arms of Lady Ishgard for me. I enjoy Rosenthal. Before we return, Joy wonders if it was a good idea to promise to repay Rosenthal's debts because... we're not, super rich, Even for one of the high houses, they're not very rich. They're kind of struggling at the moment. He's like, we'll look at the books. I'm sure there's a spare gill or two to be found in the books. Spoiler, there is no spare gill or two. Times are tough at the old manufactory.
We return to the manufactory. Stefanivian soon complains to us about the anti-firearm sentiment amongst the Knights of Ishgard. Despite the proven efficacy of cannons and ballistas, many knights continue to eschew firearms in favor of the spear and sword. Ah, the creaking chains of tradition. Hark! The very creaking I spoke of draws near now.
That is fucking hilarious.
The creaking in question is his dad. Hella dad-own.
Super dad.
Count Baranduin.
This one got me, because it's one of those annoying names that really doesn't roll off the tongue very nicely. Baranduin? Oh, what's that? I think it's Borandine, maybe? Daddy B.
So Daddy B, a.k.a. Count Barendine de Hyenart, strides on in, looking every bit the noble in his fine coat and foppish hat, compared to his son's very workmanlike mannerism and dress.
Mm-hmm.
And Dad complains that he can scarcely breathe in the heat and stench of the manufactory. And worse, he can barely stand the sight of his own son garbed in these filthy garments.
Commoner wear.
Why must you persist in this infatuation with smithing, of all things? Actually, says Stephanivian, 'tis called machinistry. Father.
This is such a trope, but it's fun. It's like, Dad, if you don't like it how it is in here, maybe don't come in. Not an option, says the Count, as he is the overseer of the manufactory and must do his job in overseeing. And Steph is quick to call out how his supervisory visits happen maybe like once a moon, and then even then, almost all the tasks are delegated to the receptionist from whatever. It's like umlaut, but with from in the front. And the Count is like, whatever. So he talks some more about how, this is Dad talking, they are one of the 4 founders of Ishgard, but their privileged position has been whittled down over the years by quote-unquote misfortune. But they do not need to languish here forever. Stephanivian will take up the spear and become a knight of unparalleled skill. Nonpareil skill was the word that they used, and I'm like, oh, nonpareil, that's like a sprinkle. It means unequaled. I had to look it up. And reclaim their honor by marching into the battlefield with their house's flag waving high. But, Dad, the future of war is with guns, and this spear talk is embarrassing. Pish posh, says Dad. The Holy See has announced a tournament, and you're going to be in it. Better start practicing. And then they leave. So Steph, he hardly acknowledges the visit. He's like, whatever. And he moves on to our task for the day, which is harvesting materials for his latest prototype. A weapon of such brilliance that the light of its potential will penetrate even the densest mind. He's such a nerd.
And for this weapon, we have to go to Raincatcher Gully to gather materials to craft it.
Because there's Magitech, or there's Garlean wreckage there, so they're just gonna sift through some of that.
And it'll be a great chance to practice some shooting for us by shooting some jungle inhabitants. This is kind of like a nothing quest step. We're at level 35 now, and the story's about Ishgard, so it feels to me like they had to give us something to do outside Ishgard to just check the level 35 box to level up, and then we can actually be at par for Kurthus starting next tier. So we go to the jungle, and the gang's all gathering parts from that crashed Magitech airship thing, the
tall
column one, and we kill some jungle critters that are harassing the other machinists. Things culminate with a Gubu appearing, kind of like a mini-boss, and as luck would have it, when we slay it, inside its belly, a part was found. The part, actually, that Stephanivian needed to complete his new invention.
Yeah, it's like a gyroscope, which is a hell of a component.
So we celebrate and return to Ishgard. Also, probably needed Jin to keep that ungainly Magitech device upright, because it looks dumb as shit.
It's straight up. How is that airborne at all,
With the gyroscope, Jin.
Apparently. All right, and Dad is back. The casual interest Steph...
Dad is back at the manufactory.
The casual interest Steph had as a kid has turned into a major distraction, says Dad. Also, it still smells bad in here. The good news, is that Dad hasn't come all this way just to insult his son's passion and career. House Zmail has issued a call to arms, and Dad intends for House Hyenart to answer. This is legit, battle stuff. There's a threat to the realm. But House Hyenart doesn't really have the numbers. They're a very, very, very small force these days. So every available body that can take up a lance is asked to participate, and that includes Stephanivian. And like he's probably communicated countless times, Stephanivian tells his father that he doesn't have the disposition to charge into enemy ranks. And this infuriates Dad, who responds, "I did not raise a coward." And he should choose his next words carefully because he is the chief and can dismiss anyone he wants from the manufactory. I'm going to fire you, kid. You don't spear and sword like the rest of them. So at this point, a small crowd has gathered on the floor at this point. So after Borundin threatens to fire his own son, they speak from the shadows. On parchment, mayhap. There's only one chief we answer to. Boom. Which is a really bold-ass thing to do as low-born commoner people. And to say that to basically the owner of the place where you are employed.
It's like a strike threat, you know? They have unionized to stand up to the owner.
All four of them. But yeah, I mean, that's like, it shows you how devoted they are to Stefanivian and his vision. But I mean, that you know, if Borundin is a bigger asshole, he'd just be like, okay, all y'all are fired. Good luck to you. But anyway, so Steph continues, you know, calmly. He understands that their ranks have thinned, but spear and sword require a robustness of spirit and physique that not everyone can manage. But with firearms, and I straight up, I think this is like a Second Amendment extremist like indictment. Firearms, even the scrawniest commoner can join the battle against dragonkind. Borundin scoffs, disgusted. An army of the masses? In his mind, only a contingent of disciplined knights have any business in battle. On the battlefield. And just then, Dad's valet interjects, saying that they must get back because Svara is due to descend upon the Skyfire locks within the hour. And the name Svara alerts Steph, and he implores his father to let him bring his machinists to help. Svara has been, like, bothering these people for years and years and years.
Bothering?
Yes.
This dragon's bothering me.
Yeah, he's bothering him. But after his father leaves, Steph realizes that the only machinist who has actually seen any combat is...
Yeah, he's like, I may have overcommitted our...
he keeps doing that. Yeah. He will continue to do that.
Yes, he gets very passionate.
He's very excited. He has, like, all the faith in the world, which is very, very adorable. But then he's like, he says these things, and then he's like, shit. Which honestly is great. Like, the man is good at selling.
So it is now down to us, the Machinist of Light, to carry the day.
Correct. And we are gifted the prototype.
Yeah, the drone.
The Rook. Mm-hmm. The auto turret.
So it's time to get moving. We got to get to the Skyfire locks before the dragon arrives, but Rostenthal is nowhere to be found. And we've got to track him down before we leave.
This guy is a wild card.
So we find him outside pinning a robed figure. And he explains that he caught this scrag creeping about near the workshop. And you know, where there's one rat, there's always a dozen more. So we are tasked with tracking down more troublemakers.
Yeah. They're kind of all over the place. So we head down near the broom.
Yeah, this gets to be absurd. We're like in the entire Foundation.
The whole of Foundation.
We're just like,
yeah, like
half the city we're patrolling to like
how could
profile
these,
like,
how
shady
are we able
figures.
to tell this shady guy is not just like a denizen of the
right.
room?
Hey, you're looking pretty suspicious.
Yeah.
Blammo.
Yeah.
So
we have to fire warning shots at all of these people to scare them off. Which
so
would
we
scare
do
the entire city.
Exactly. We go all the way to the broom in our patrol for ne'er-do-wells, and we do find even in the broom that there's actually one guy mugging a machinist down there. Well, not mugging because
right. Celesto, he was the guy that
assaulting.
Yeah. So we catch him. That's probably to be fair, he's not just some random hooded figure. He was actually accosting.
No, this
one of
is
our
the
dudes.
one we find that actually is doing something that is questionable.
Yeah.
Other guys are like standing around looking like
they're
fiends.
just like spreading propaganda. They're just like, hear ye, the manufactory is full of jerks.
Blam.
Yeah. We find another near the Forgotten Knight. This is the propaganda spreader. He's saying that the Skysteel Manufactory is harboring villains, and for the sake of Ishgard, it needs to be shut down. And when we fire a warning shot to get him to fuck off, he reacts with indignance. And he assigns our uncouthness to Rosenthal's influence. Quote unquote, or quote, their Rogaden instructor poses as the former commodore of the Knights of the Barracuda. This is a lie. In truth, he is a bloodthirsty pirate who murdered his entire crew. That's
After
something.
all is said and done, we go back to the manufactory, and Joy also has reported in that she has heard of slander directed at the manufactory.
How dare they?
And
Rosenthal.
Rosenthal in particular.
Yeah.
who now just comes up and says, well, actually, it ain't slander because most of it's true.
Yeah, which I thought was very refreshing.
Yeah.
And he makes it like a total, like, kind of nothing burger, frankly. He's like, yeah, most of it's true.
Yeah, he was the Commodore of the Barracudas, so he got kicked out on his arse for making a bloody mess of things.
Yeah, so that's why he was acting out of hurt earlier.
Also, though, he does revise his earlier statement about the payoff. He was, in fact, paid by someone to take the job as the firearms instructor, not to quit. But he said, fuck you, fuck that. I'm going to take your money and quit because you want me to stay. Therefore, I'm going to act out out of spite, which fair.
Oh, sure. He's like, I'm going to take your money and do the thing
didn't want to do. Classic Jin move.
Total pirate. Yeah, exactly. You can't tell me what to do.
He's like, hey, I'm on bad news. You don't want me around, actually, because of all this bad stuff I did. Stefanivian, though, says, this may be true, but we need you. You're our top marksman, so you got to stay with us. Rosenthal says, okay, maybe, but either way, with this high-profile dragon fight coming up, I'm going to sit this one out because I don't want me dragging down your
Yes, my presence will be
image.
A distraction to the whole thing.
Yes.
And then if you guys show up and show out, that'll be that much more significant if I'm not standing around.
Yep.
And Steph's like, yeah, okay. He's like, and also I'm not very good at dragons, so I'm not going to do dragons.
But time's a wasting, Jen. We got Savara coming right now. So we rush to the Skyfire locks. These are those fortifications up on the slopes south of Camp Dragonhead in the Kurthus Central Highlands. We have 3 cannons on, 1 cannon per bunker, 3 bunkers in all, so 3 cannons in all. Our job as machinists is to defend the cannons from the lesser dragons before the big dragon Savara gets there.
Yeah.
And we, of course, are the rover. We're going to go run around between all cannons to keep things under wraps with our hot skills.
Yeah, so Stefanivian is basically going to be calling out instructions. He's going to see where the hordes of minions are headed, and then he's going to instruct us to go there to protect the cannons from their bullshit. So we're running around trying to keep the cannons from getting destroyed.
How was this for you, Jen?
It was pretty good. Yeah, I felt the urgency,
These solo duties are actually well balanced, I think. They're not gimmies. As in...
Oh, yeah, I lost a cannon.
Yeah, I had 2 cannons almost dead on my attempt before Savara showed up. These hordes come nonstop.
Oh, yeah.
It is not like if you press your buttons, you're good to go. You have to actually act.
They're attacking like simultaneously.
Yeah.
So you gotta run around.
Yep.
Joy's doing Joy stuff, which is great, but she can't do it alone.
So we do that, and then Savara gets there, and that's the easy part, because Savara just spams
just
AoEs.
Like sits on the ground, which, if you're a dragon, maybe you should fly and make it harder for us, but whatever. So yeah, we defeat Savara.
Rapid fires these circle AoEs at you, but because you're a ranged DPS, you can just run around and not stay put.
I don't have to stop firing.
Exactly. So you run and gun and you're good to go.
Yeah. So obviously, machinistry against dragons, pretty good.
Pretty good.
So after the battle is won and Savara is defeated, Borandine really has no choice but to admit the machinists handled their business. But before Steph can enjoy the moment, some blonde-haired jerk and his punchable face sidekick from House Smail walk up and they mock all of us.
And this pretentious noble, with his extra wide douche face, eyeshadow, and long blonde hair, struts up all saucy-like.
You can just tell this guy's a douchebag. They designed it, I'm not bad. I was just drawn this way. So, Jerkface, a.k.a. Lord Tettlegrinch, it's a gross-ass name and it totally fits you, claims responsibility for offering the quote-unquote opportunity to improve the ailing reputation of House Hyanart, and passive-aggressively demands acknowledgement, which Borandine provides because he is a noble and he's polite. But yeah, Jerkface is all aren't you glad I told you about this whole thing? Because now you have an opportunity to not be stupid. You can actually show up and fight stuff for once. And also seems House Hyanart was too busy scraping together a motley band of idle tinkerers to request House Smail's assistance, as evidenced by the fact that they showed up after the fact. And Borandine is well, this came up so fast we had barely time to put pen to, quill to parchment, I think is what he says. And now Steph gets in Tattlegrinch's face to defend the tinkerers. If you are so confident in these machinists of yours, mayhap you should enter them in the upcoming tourney. Maybe I will, says Steph.
This is a very intentional jibe. This is what he wants, what Tettlegrinch wants.
Oh, he's yeah. Then, and then if he does, which he will, then all of Ishgard will see that spears are old and busted and machinists are the new hotness. And Borondine is watching all of this and he's like, God damn it. So after Jerkface walks away, Borondine is like, bro, the tournament is where the 4 high houses parade their best and brightest in front of the highest echelons of the Holy See. What have you done? And Steph is like, there, Dad. I will win. We will walk away from that tournament with pride. And after I win, you will relinquish control of the manufactory to me. And Borondine says, okay. And asks his son, whether he wins or no, to beat the ever-loving shit out of House Zmail. Absolutely. So, back at the manufactory, Steph lets us know that...
Whoa, Jen, whoa.
Whoa.
After Dad leaves, Joy tries to quit. She's like, Lord Tettlegrinch has a dislike for commoners such as me, so maybe my presence will cause you more trouble than it's worth. I'm just gonna quit. I'm out. But Stefanivian says, it'll be fine. Don't mind it. If you truly wish to please me, then I would have you shine your brightest in the tourney and wipe that arrogant smirk from Tettlegrinch's face.
Correct. Yeah, I sense that she was looking for a reason to be like, I'm gonna go. I'm gonna head out. Why? We don't know. Maybe it's just our imagination. Back at the manufactory, Steph lets us know that when he consulted his prospectometer about our chances of winning the tourney, the result came back unfavorable. But let's not spread that around the shop. We still need some training to do. Let's keep morale up, shall we? Yes, okay. Powering on. Powering through?
Powering through.
Powering on is what I do. Okay, so now...
Powering on is what you do when, Jen?
It's what I do with my computer.
True, but not interesting.
Yeah, I was trying to find something interesting. What do I power on? Power on my power glove from Nintendo.
Okay.
So time passes. Now we must discuss our strategy for the upcoming tournament. It's like right around the corner. Tettlegrinch will no doubt do everything he can to humiliate us in front of the adjudicators. Therefore, we must win. And Joy asks why Tettlegrinch has such a hard-on for the manufactory, because hardly any Ishgardian knows we exist at all. And Rosenthal, he has some solid insight on this. The fact that any random asshole, particularly the lowborn masses, can destroy something with the daintiest pull of a trigger is seen as an existential threat to the establishment. And Tettlegrinch, despite being a Class A piece of shit, is a member of that establishment, and he has the foresight to kind of grasp that whole concept, that whole potential shift in the paradigm. So, yes, correct. Meanwhile, Steph is just like, but warfare, it's gonna be better with guns. So as far as our training goes, we need to find a place that is not in Ishgard, because we don't want these quote unquote loiterers, as they're called, spying on us and learning our techniques or interrupting our jam. So Rosenthal is like, hey, Bloodshore is a good spot. So he and Joy go ahead, and Steph stops us for a second to say, despite his earlier boasts to his father about machinists forming the backbone of Ishgard's defensive forces, he's not exactly confident in that notion. You know, hitting a dragon the size of a ship is one thing, but hitting smaller and more agile targets like other people is quite another. And he's going to rely heavily on us and our battle prowess to win the tournament. Like, nobody else can aim some shit, apparently. They're new, you know?
They are new.
Yeah.
Well, nobody else being like the overall workers here, the overall machinists, not the A-team.
Right.
A-team's fine.
Yeah, we good. But everybody else, I mean, they're just probably out back, you know, shooting dummies, and they haven't seen any real battle.
Yep.
Joy She was sent to the manor to handle some last-minute tasks, but she's taken a while. Classic. So we are sent to figure out what's taking so long, and I'm like, oh God, is she dead?
No.
No! We find her in the jeweled crozier, and she's just like buying groceries. She's like, I'm almost done. And she's got like these, big heavy sacks of food that she's got to take back to the manor, which is quite a trek. And we're like, hey, can we help? And she's like, no, I'm stronger than I look. I'm like, I believe it, but I'm going to help you anyway. So we take a big old sack and we walk over to the manor, and that's up in the last vigils, like way the fuck up there.
Yeah, it's like right across the street from
House
for Tom. Yes.
Yeah, House for Tom and House Hyanard, I think they're like buddies. They're buddy houses.
Yep.
They're the good guys.
Wow.
Zamail and Durandara are the shit fucks.
Black and white.
Yeah, exactly. Well, black and red, frankly, but.
Wow.
So, we take her items back to the manor, and she's like, okay, we're good. Thank you for helping. And Borandine is like, okay, thank you. Now that you're done here, you can now go help Stefanivian with whatever it is you help him with. And Borandine goes back inside, and she tells us how grateful she is to the Count for letting her keep her position with the manor. Her father is too feeble to work anymore. She also feels guilty about all the time that she spends at the manufactory. She's trying to kind of like, how am I repaying the Count by spending half of my time with Stefanivian and doing machinist stuff? And we tell her that, like, you can repay the kindness by winning the tournament and do it for the house. And she's like, I never thought of it that way. That's helpful. Thank you. And with that, we're off to Bloodshore.
I think I've found out why you don't think that Stefanivian is steamrolling Joy's needs, which is that you keep on omitting every segment where she's like, hey, I'm not super down with this. I might want to quit. When she brings that to Stefanivian, he's like, no, you're good. We're good. Keep on trucking. Joy has something else going on behind the scenes where she feels like she needs to quit and do something else.
Right.
And she keeps asking again and again and again to quit or trying to find a way out from this thing. And in this case, Joy's like, hey, you're doing such a good job, Warrior of Light, that maybe Stefanivian, the master, won't need me around the workshop no more. So I can go back to doing my house chores full time and focusing on that. And we kind of do the same thing as Stefanivian here, where we reassure her past what might be lying below the voiced concerns. We're just like, no, it'll be fine, just like he does.
Well, yeah, and that's his jam, because he's like the eternal optimist. He's like, no, it'll be good, it'll be good. But again, he's so like, he's got this hyperfixation on his passion, and yeah, it can make it hard for him to see when the human beings around him might have other shit going on.
So we agree. You just didn't like my phrasing.
The phrasing is totally different. He doesn't dismiss her. He doesn't discount her. He's just completely fucking distracted.
Sure.
So if he was given a quiet moment and she sat down and was like, look at me in my face when I tell you these things, which she's not going to do because she is an employee.
Yes.
She's a lowborn Hure in one of the high houses of Ishgard, and is beyond thankful she has this job, and she is supporting her family with this job. She's not gonna say these things. She can say it to us because we're not Stefanivian. So it's a loaded ass
There's something
situation.
else going on under the hood here, and he
100%.
refuses to hear it because he has eyes on the prize.
He doesn't refuse to
malicious.
hear it. He can't. Yes, it is not malicious. He's just like blah blah. He's so distracted by his things that he can't. No, on that we agree. Yes.
So again, it's a phrasing issue. It's not a facts issue.
Phrasing can insinuate facts. So
anyway.
So now do you want to take over?
I will take over, Jen. Thank you.
Great. All right. You can talk about the meat crates.
I will talk about the meat crates. We got some street meats.
Yep.
Shore meats. So we go to Bloodshore to do our top secret away from spying eyes practice, and Stefanivian has put out this rank-ass crate of meats. He's like, this is going to get the crabs real feisty. We're going to pretend this crate of meats is like our standard in the upcoming tourney.
Mm-hmm.
And if the crabs get to the crate, then you have lost. You've lost the tournament.
Ooh.
We and Joy have to defend the crate from the crabs.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
And they start coming out of the water, and again, you've got to work for it here.
Yes.
Because there are a lot of crabs and they go fast.
Yep.
The trick is you got to be going to the crabs, to the water. Don't let them come to you, because if they do, then you won't have time to DPS them down before they get the meat crate. You have to go to like where they spawn in the water, start shooting them then you'll have time to burn them before then. So we kill some crabs and like some jellyfish too, whatever, but things culminate though with a surprise guest. For a sea serpent has got our meat stank and wants in on those meats.
Gross.
So we get our like bonus boss fight against the sea serpent, and that's when you get to finally like use the drone and use the other like big damage items, because the crabs go down too fast to justify like wildfire or something.
Yeah. Thing of the Deep is what it's called. Because Rosenthal, like, after we defeat all the crabs, he's like, good job. Oh, shit, what's that? It's like a thing from the deep. And then we look, and its name is actually Thing from the Deep.
After we celebrate, once more Joy tries to quit. If I may, me lordship, seeing how well the Warrior of Light is coming along, maybe you don't need me at the tourney no more. But Stephanivian says, I need you now more than ever. The sight of you, a commoner with scant battle experience, sending seasoned knights stumbling and sprawling, will open the eyes of the holy sea. Why, you shall be the bullet that pierces their tradition-bound hearts.
Their tradition-bound hearts. Also, I mean, you can, again, he's a distracted, like, precocious man, and I think he also might just assume that she's, like, maybe feeling not so confident, and he's like, no, you're great, you're good, you're amazing, we need you. Not sensing what it is she's trying to do.
Yep.
Subtly. Yeah. So she's like, oh, okay. But when we get back to the manufactory, he's like, okay, I'm sensing Joy's lack of enthusiasm. And that's how he phrases it. The lack of enthusiasm. It concerns me, but I can't dwell on it. I'm like, okay, well, at least you picked up on that. Finally. Now, it is time to assemble the team. We find Joy out front, and alarmingly, she has discovered someone broke into their storage crates, which they keep outside for some reason. They have a whole ass warehouse.
We're being forgiving. They had them staged for like the upcoming tourney. We got to get our shit in front so we can carry them to the tourney.
Okay. All right, fine. Well, someone broke into them and destroyed all of the firearms. This is fucked. But before she succumbs to panic, we tell her, inform Stephanivian, and we will go look for Rosenthal. Let's keep a level head about this. And she's like, okay. Around back, he's found more of these loiterers hanging around the factory with ill intent, no doubt. Obviously, we just had all of our guns destroyed. Clearly, the person who wants the manufactory shut down is escalating their tactics. I mean, the tournament is in 2 hours. So yeah. Back inside, Joy confirms that we only have half the firearms we need for the tournament, but Steph insists there is still a path to victory. Just then, an explosion is heard just outside, and all of our turrets have been destroyed now. So Joy is like, we have to forfeit. We have nothing now. And Steph was like, no. I can fix this. I can do it. And he's like, I'll just build more guns. They're not going to be very good, but they'll be guns. So with the time until the tournament rapidly diminishing, Steph commits to quickly build the rest of the firearms we need, but not built to his exacting standards, which means that we will have to work that much harder to make up for the lack of firepower. And I'm sorry, when you say that you're not going to build guns to your exacting standards, I don't take that as a loss of firepower. I take that as these things aren't going to work, or you can't aim for shit. It's not an effort thing. Whatever. Anyway,
it's a lot of guns in an hour. I assume he's got just stocks and tubes. It's pretty much.
Quick assemble. Yep. Fake it till we make it, basically. And there we go, off to the tournament.
Oh, you didn't talk about the whole searching for guys.
Searching for guys. Oh, shit. Yeah, okay. So we got to go rerun around to find more of these loiterer guys. Is this right after we talked to Rosenthal?
Yes.
Or is
after
turret blow up?
The turrets blow up after we search for guys.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So it's the same three dudes, because there's the sharp-eyed loiterer, the stinky-eyed loiterer, and the
shifty. I don't know.
Yeah, the shifty-eyed. There's these three guys. The last guy that I found was on the bridge connecting the manufactory to the other side.
I will say, Jen, for this segment, because we're shooting them and using our weapon skills, you can actually see them from a long ways away and blast them. Like, you don't have to go do the, navigation puzzle to get to them. You can see them on the bridge or like on the little platform and shoot them from your max range and they'll still react. So there's a time saver, Jen.
Great, thank you.
Yeah.
The last guy I found is standing on that bridge, like real close to the manufactory. He is the sharp-eyed loiterer, which means he's probably like the leader of the group. And we overhear him saying something like, okay, gotta make the timing just right. And we blast him and he's like, fuck you guys. And he runs away. The other two guys were actually like, I'm just being paid to do this. Like, please don't kill me. It's not me. I'm just trying to earn a living. But this last guy, obviously the ringleader. So fuck him. And with all of that garbage, now we have to go to this tournament.
We do that before we get like the rundown from Stephanie Evian about like the shitty weapons. And as we're talking about, it's still good, just a little bit shitty. Then there's a boom from outside. And we run outside and find that apparently one of the guys, or like another guy, there's like a fourth guy maybe.
We missed the fourth guy.
Blown up the crate full of drones. And now it's on them for having left their shit outside after the first round of sabotage. Fool me once, etc. Sure. But anyway, so no drones, shitty guns, we're fucked, but we're going to try anyway. And we, the Warrior of Light, have to carry the day, of course.
We'll do what we can.
We're saying this plan now, and the machinist from beforehand, the guy who was being assaulted, Celesto, comes up to us. And he's like, what's this about shitty guns? And Stephen Nivian's like, fuck. Well, I guess
the cat's out of the bag.
Welcome to the conspiracy.
He says, welcome to the conspiracy, which I think is very funny. That moment I thought was very funny, like legit humorous. And then the time when he was like, hey, Dad, if you don't like it in here, maybe don't like walk in here. Oh, and then also like, hark, the chains of tradition or whatever approach even now. My first dad walked in, which is
good stuff.
Very funny.
So with our shit team, we head to the field. And
wow. Shit equipment. Awesome team.
I don't know. Half the machinists can't like shoot straight, apparently.
Risky team.
Risky team.
Green team.
We head to the field. The tourney takes place in Camp Dragonhead. And we have like our 2v2. We have House Hyanart and House Fortomp together against Samael and Darendare. So 2v2 again. Good guys and bad guys, Jen. Like
correct.
Jen said.
Yep.
Not comrades in arms opposed for the love of the game.
No.
No, we're not friends. We're enemies.
Correct.
Anyway, so we go there and we like get there early to do a pass through over like the overall battle mechanics, which I appreciate because this has some mechanics to it. Mm-hmm. And better to know how it works before you're thrust into the middle of
it's like
thing.
A mini game.
Yeah, it is. Exactly. Yeah. So the deal is that we have two flags on opposite sides of Camp Dragonhead. It's like capture the flag, but destroy the flag instead.
Right.
The flags give like a healing AoE pulse around them, and each team has their own like defenders and assaulters and so on. And that's the setup pretty much. Two flags, they heal you, and also we have an ace in the hole. Celesto.
Seaman.
Thanks, Jen. Our guy, he's going to like lie in wait behind a building. And when we fire a signal mortar, he will come out of hiding and he'll assault the enemies in a flanking maneuver.
Anyway, he started blasting. Yes.
He will not. He will wait, Jen, to start blasting.
Oh my God.
So with the rules laid out, we say we're good to go. And if you want to, there's like a way to bypass the tutorial.
Yeah, you're like, I got it. I just want to go. And
Jen, how did this go for you?
Pretty well. These guys are real tanky. So all of the D house guys, they ran over to our flag to try to shoot our flag down. So I spent pretty much all of my time around my own flag, killing dudes. Well, not killing, you know what I mean. Subduing dudes.
Subduing dudes with guns.
Yeah. So they had, they had archers, they had healers, they had the big tanky leader dudes. And so I'm just running around like killing all these guys.
Yeah, they rush you. For me, I pulled aggro because of my hot DPS. So I had to stand in our flag's healing aura to not get burned down.
Uh-huh. Interesting. I was fine.
Great.
What does that say about me?
Improve your DPS, Jen.
Right. I was like, I was doing okay, but I felt like I was missing.
Did you upgrade your gear at 50 or did you have
I did.
your,
okay. Yeah, I'm in Iron
Popos?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not not enough poetics to buy the weapon yet. But
Well, that's why, probably.
I don't know. My overall eye level was 115.
Sure, but the weapon is where the damage comes from. The damage stat makes a huge difference.
Yeah, well, that was a bummer. I was like, surely, after all of the LDRs we've done, I've got poetics at the wazoo.
Right?
I do not.
Well, LDR
do not.
does not until 50, so...
I had piddling amounts I could not buy.
Anyway.
I'm like, that's upsetting.
So...
Okay, so I was like, ooh, I should upgrade my weapon. I went all the way to Mordona, found out I couldn't afford it, and went all the way back in shame. So I was hanging around the Fortemps high on art standard like the whole time, just handling the guys that kept running up on our flag. And I'm like, aren't I supposed to be like doing some other work here? Like maybe destroying the other flag, or like, oh shit, I still have to send what's his face a signal because they're literally doing nothing. They're hiding behind a building this whole time. Meanwhile, I've subdued probably a dozen guys.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, I think you guys have it handled over here. I run over to the other side to see what's going on. And Joy is literally standing there by herself, just shooting at the standard. Just pew, pew. And I'm like, hey, would you like some assistance maybe in shooting this fucking thing? And I'm like, oh, wait, fuck. So I leave her do it. She's almost got it killed. She's almost destroyed the flag just on her own. And I'm like, fuck. So I run up to the mortar and I shoot the mortar. And then the Celestial was like, rah! And it's dead in like a second and a half.
So I think, Jen,
felt really bad.
Because of my better DPS from my better gear, I killed the attackers before you did. I defeated the attackers before you did. Let's be clear here.
Sure.
Our non-lethal bullets.
Correct.
And I was like, that's like a lot of guys. And they have maybe 3 or 4 guys at their flag still. So I was like, okay, it feels like they blew their load, so I could now signal our counterattack. So I ran up to signal the mortar on the way to their flag.
Yeah.
And Celestial comes out of hiding, and he gets killed immediately.
Oh, no.
Like, he cannot tank for shit, apparently, because their skeleton crew was too much for him. I, like, okay, well, fuck, I messed up, I guess. And
so we both walked away going, like, we didn't do that right. But I don't know, 3 dudes languishing
Jen,
by the flag. I think Celestial and literally the 6 other people he had with him would have been fine.
So after that happens, I'm like, I guess it's all on me now to fight their flag. I don't know where Joy was for me. She was not on their flag.
She was literally like smack dab in the middle of the thing, all alone.
Yeah,
there was nobody.
I assume that Joy stayed back to defend because she was nowhere to be seen by the enemy flag. So I go there, I start DPSing the flag. I'm taking a few hits, but again, they're down to skeleton crew. When I'm like down to maybe 75% flag health, their skeleton crew leaves to attack our flag.
It wasn't clear. I get, it's very free form. You can kind of do whatever you want. Like you could signal that mortar like immediately if you wanted to and killed all your dudes.
Yes.
But then at that point you'd be like, you know what? How about a do-over? So yeah, while I did succeed, I didn't have to redo it or anything like that. I still felt like I did it wrong. I didn't do it optimally.
The optimal call, I think, is to, well, if you had signaled dude on the way over, or maybe
I was like, what the fuck is happening over at the other flag? Because literally all the action seems to be here.
Yeah,
and I was right.
They rush you ASAP.
Yeah. I'm like, aren't you guys, I mean, it's like a soccer team, right? You're supposed to leave some dudes behind.
For me, they did.
And,
I suspect, again, because your gear was lower damage than mine, that they sent in the second wave while you were fighting the first wave.
They're like, those guys are taking forever. Yeah. Why don't you go deal with it?
But I think that for me, the second wave had not triggered yet. So that's why I had like the skeleton crew behind. Don't know. It was fun. It's fun to have that kind of freeform scenario and do what you want. So good stuff.
And, it matched the narrative that Celestial and the other machinists are very, very green.
Yes, because they were.
They got taken down ASAP.
With the deed done, Tettle Grinch acknowledges our victory. Congratulations, machinists. You have proven yourselves not entirely without merit. House Zemael will gladly welcome your inclusion in House Hyenart's next company of reinforcements. Your novel toys confounded my knights and won you this game of flags. I would see, however, how you fare against adversaries who seek not to break your standard, but to spill your life's blood. Mayhap then you shall understand why the knight is the true master of the battlefield.
Is the sharp-eyed loiterer, I knew it!
The Count is ecstatic, though. Count Barandine. Finally, we got a tourney win after years of defeat. So he is happy to give his son the W.
Everything's coming up high house.
And to hand over the control of the manufactory to Stefanivian.
It's a really nice moment, actually.
Yep.
Yeah, Dad's like, you know what? You fucking
are
earned
right.
this. Yes.
Yeah, he did.
Like, get after it, and I'm so proud of you, and...
Or in other words, may the machinists be the spears that pierce our foes and the shields that defend our walls.
Aww.
Stefanivian cries, the age of the machinist has begun. Follow me, and together we shall ring the rusted helmets of the old guard. And that is the end for today. Long episode, Jen. Lots of content. Good job. Any final thoughts from you before we conclude?
I don't have any final thoughts. I guess I know, obviously, the story that's going on with Joy, you know, that's going to continue. There will be some resolution there. And also, the whole Rosenthal thing, like, once he came out and was like, yeah, I did it, then we stopped caring about Rosenthal, pretty much. Now he's just, you know, he's chilling. He's our marksmanship instructor guy. So that's all good. And we figured out the people who were, like, paying him off and stuff. So that kind of got wrapped up. But I don't know if I wonder if that will get resolved, as in, like, the identity of the terrorists will get revealed, if anybody cares or matters.
They're hired by House Zemail, obviously.
Oh, they are of House Zemail. It's Title Grinch, or whatever his name is, Jerkface, was one of them. That was the guy we saw on the bridge.
Allegedly, Jen. You got no proof.
Or maybe it's his brother, and they both do the thing.
It's ha ha ha.
Oh, I see. Okay. But yeah, other than that, I'm going to kind of hold off on that because we still have some things to resolve. But Stefanivian, I mean, lots of good characters.
Yeah.
Good story. And obviously some tropes, but still entertaining.
Yeah, it's good stuff.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, with that, we will see you next time for Machinist Part 2. And Jen, please take us out.
And that will do it for today's episode. Thank you all so much for listening. And thank you for running out to meet your crab. Don't wait for your crab to come to you. If you want to get in touch with us, you can at podreturnffxiv@gmail.com. We're also on Blue Sky at podreturnffxiv. Check the show notes for our Discord. You can join up and join us for some of our group runs. Post things about, I mean, kind of like whatever. Memes, glams, thoughts, deep thoughts. Check it out. We would love to have you. And last but not least, our Patreon, patreon.com/podreturnffxiv. And for $1 a month, you get access to all the other stuff that we do, including the seasonal events from 14, our Final Fantasy 11 series, Vanadil Van Splainer, that we will be wrapping up here in a little bit, and then we will be moving on to something very exciting. So keep an eye out on that. And with that, we hope you enjoyed the episode. Have a good day or night, and we will see you next time.